Welcome to another episode of Season Insights, and I'm very pleased that we have Mr. Pranav Khatavkar on this episode of Season Insights. Welcome to you, sir, and I'm very glad that we finally meet, as you said, at least on Zoom. We've been talking to each other for a few years now, and it's really good to see you. So this is a series that I'm doing with authors. I've done about 7 episodes. Yours is going to be the eighth, I think. Primarily to take our viewers through your journey, and in this specific case, since we are doing the Season Insights launch of your articles as well, it makes a lot of sense to do the podcast today and go live today at the same time. So welcome again. I generally start off by asking you about your journey thus far. So let me start with that.
All right. So I hold a bachelor's degree in law from Symbiosis International University, Pune, and a master's degree in law from Northwestern University in Chicago. I have close to 10 years of experience, and I started my career as a practicing lawyer. I appeared in several mandates before the Bombay High Court, City Civil Court, Debts Recovery Tribunal, National Company Law Tribunal, National Company Law Appellate Tribunal as well. Thereafter, I went to the US to pursue my master's degree in law. After completion of my master's degree in law, I joined an international law firm in New York City called White and Case. I was with them for some time. Thereafter, I came back to India and then I joined Yes Bank. At Yes Bank, I got a chance to work on several critical and important high profile and high valuation accounts. And the estimated portfolio of accounts that I was very fortunate to get the experience of was approximately 48,000 crores, which is about $6 billion. From Yes Bank, I transitioned organically to another organization called JC Flowers Asset Reconstruction Private Limited. Yes Bank was holding on to certain bad loans on its books,
Mhm.
which it assigned it to an asset reconstruction company, in this case, JC Flowers. And along with the assignment transaction between Yes Bank and JC Flowers, certain handful of employees, including me, were transferred from Yes Bank to JC Flowers pursuant to an agreement between them. At JC Flowers also, I got an opportunity to work on financial asset acquisition as well as financial asset resolution as well. And post completion of my stint at JC Flowers, I moved to a international factoring company called Drip Capital. It is California headquartered, where I worked on multiple cross-border mandates as well. And over the course of the 10 years career that I've had, I got several domestic as well as international insights. And at the back of my mind, Gavri, I was always passionate about starting up on my own. I have always kindled the entrepreneurship spirit within me from a very young age. So I always knew at the back of my mind that I wanted to start off on my own. And for me, the only reason why I waited for slightly longer before I started off on my own was because I wanted to get some hands-on practical exposure, and I wanted to get some industry insights so that I can better serve and add much better value to my clients. And by the time I completed my stint at Drip Capital, it had already been 10 years. And that's when, the calling came, so to speak. And
Yeah.
I started Lexcentra. The term Lexcentra can be broken down into lex and entra. Lex is a derivative for law in Latin,
Yes.
and
Yes.
entra can be, entra is a close relative of the term enterprise. So Lexcentra is essentially a legal enterprise that has been formed to support other legal enterprises. At
Hmm.
Lexcentra, we focus on five areas of law: banking, finance, corporate commercial, regulatory, and cross-border matters. And
Hmm.
we stick to what we know the best. And these are the areas where we sincerely believe we can potentially add value. At this stage, it's also very important for me to state on the record that the Bar Council of India rules prohibit advocates from advertising and soliciting. But
Right.
in this case, this is a conversation between two friends. So
Yeah.
at that standpoint, I believe it is very important to comply with the law. And at the same time, it's very important to acknowledge that there is a directive in place, and I honestly and sincerely do comply with it. But at the same time, I'm just having a conversation over here.
No,
So
fair enough. I mean, that's fully understood, and I know this law exists. And as far as the entrepreneurship part is concerned, it makes two of us, you and me. And except that I started much later.
yes,
Yeah, I started after what, some 35 odd years. It's been on my mind, but I mean, something or other kept on coming up, and finally got a chance to do it. So it is pretty late, but it's something that I think once you have the bug, which is a bit new, you can't really get away from it.
can't do anything about it.
So
Exactly. Once it's there,
yeah, so
it's
I'm it's
exactly.
there, and you really can't do much.
It does
So
move on.
now you spoke about what you do in Lexintra, and I'm pretty sure that given your experience, it will do pretty well. I know you started maybe a year back. I remember that you had told me about it. I don't know if it's a year back or less. I'm not sure.
Actually, Gauri, I mean, so I had housed the idea for a while, and I suppose around a year ago, I suppose I must have mentioned to you that I intend to,
Yeah,
but
start. Yeah,
I started officially on 1st of April this year.
this
So
year. Okay.
I was relieved from my job on the 28th of March, and I mean, I started work on Lexcentra on 1st of April of this year.
This year.
All I had on 1st of April was just an intention to start. I had nothing. I didn't have the name Lexcentra. I didn't have the practice areas. I didn't have the background. I didn't have any clients. I had nothing. I had to start from scratch. All I had at that time was my intention. From 1st of April
That's that's
to
how it
now.
works.
Yes.
That's yeah,
Yes.
that's exactly how it works. I mean, I started with the intention of publishing, but it has been in my mind that publishing the way it is done in India, or for that matter elsewhere, can be done differently, and that's really what brought me into the field. I mean, I've been a voracious reader of books. That's different. But yes, when I started, I had just the intent, same thing. So I think very similar in that regard, except for the timing. So
Yeah.
now we'll just I'll just go back a bit in time, because I think we first met when you started writing the book on the
I did.
insolvency and bankruptcy code, right?
Yeah.
So I mean, I'm not going into the book per se, but then what makes you write?
Wow. So for me, Gavri, my passion for writing stems from my deep passion for analysis and diving into the merits of things. I
Hmm.
think that is something which I'm really passionate about. For me, I tend to look beyond the face value and the apparent value of things. I like to dive deep into them, and that is a mind pattern which I have imbibed and trained in myself and fostered for several years now. So for me, the whole idea behind writing anything is to simplify and to break it down, and that's something which I really like doing. So I suppose the central idea is to simplify and to break it down. That manifests in itself as writing, because the moment I have done the analysis in my mind, and
Yeah.
once it's broken down, there are only
Hmm.
two ways in which I can actually manifest it, right? It's either through speaking about it or by writing.
Or correct. Yeah.
So in this case, I chose to write about it. So, for instance, you are speaking, I mean, as far as the IBC is concerned. So, when the IBC was enacted back in 2016, I had no intention to write any book on the IBC back
Hmm.
then.
Hmm.
And before I wrote the book for Thomson Reuters, prior to that, I had written three other books on IBC as well. But
Okay.
the intention when I started writing the books for IBC back then was, as in, my core intention was not to write. So here's how it actually happened. The IBC was enacted, brand new piece of legislation. Nobody
Right.
in the market
Yeah.
had any idea what was the legislative mechanism proposed under the IBC. Brand new piece of legislation. So what I did is simply break it down. So I took the bare act, went through it word for word,
What?
dived into the merits, understood what the legislative mechanism is. As I was getting into the merits and trying to understand the law, I
Yeah.
was making
Hmm.
my own notes for every section. And before I know it, okay, before I knew it, by the time I was finished with reviewing the IBC through and through, I had my notes ready for virtually every section in the IBC when it was enacted back in 2016. Then somebody suggested to me that why don't I convert my notes into a manuscript?
Into right.
That's how it. So the like I said, the core intention was to simplify and break it down. It just so happened that an opportunity came to convert it into a book, and it so happened. So that's the way I got into writing
No,
on
that's
IBC.
great, and yeah, and of course, I mean, I know that we are talking about the next book, so we'll talk about it when as soon as it is ready. Um, I mean, just continuing with the writing part. So that really is when I reached out to you and asked you about, whether you would be willing to write articles on this thing, right? So, so you obviously written articles earlier,
Yes.
and so, like I said, when I came into publishing, my intent was to provide content in a different format, not necessarily as a book, which is what
Mhm.
everybody does. And
Mhm.
so there are a lot of people who have content who have kept it with them. They've not really done anything with it. So that is the reason why we started this option. And when we did this, when we realized that we could use technology to create a video cast. So I thought, why not convert this into a video? That's what we're calling it, by the way. I don't know if the word exists, but that's what we are calling it. So I know that you're writing on the same five pillars that you spoke about, which you're working on. And I mean, I've read all the 10, and I can tell you that they are written very well, very exhaustive, very well. In fact, I would say that we found it a little difficult to convert them to a video cast because of the topic.
Yes. Yes.
Getting the right kind of imagery was a little tough.
I can
but
imagine.
but but then it is. I think it has come out well enough. So what I want to know from you is those articles and the ones that you're going to write going forward. Right. Let's talk about who it is going to benefit, what kind of segment. Who is it useful for? Because this particular, when we do this podcast, we are actually sending it out to a whole bunch of people, the links, that is. So it'll be good to hear from you in terms of what was which segment would it benefit the most.
Understood. So, Gauri, at the outset, and from a basic nutshell summary, I sincerely believe that my work product, my articles, can be potentially beneficial for anybody who's in the legal sector as well as who is outside the legal sector. That was my core intention behind writing it. But then, since you're speaking in the legal context, I'll start with who within the legal sector can potentially benefit from the content. I
Mhm.
sincerely believe that this content can prove useful for law students. It can prove useful for practicing lawyers. It can prove useful for law students that have just graduated and are now getting into the industry. It can also prove useful for practitioners who have been in the industry for several years. Uh, so I believe those could be the potential audiences who could be interested. For instance, even if somebody who's not in the legal field and if they
Mhm.
stumble across, so for instance, if anybody is on the financial side of things, in India, financial matters of finance are highly regulated. So,
Yes.
for instance, they are working on a merger transaction, and we have prepared an article on mergers and acquisitions. And while they will be potentially handling, I imagine in the course of a deal, they would be handling the business, commercial, and financial aspects of the deal. But
Right.
getting legal insights by potentially listening to the video cast is just
Mhm.
likely to add more value to them, because they're likely to get a whole holistic and a well-rounded kind of an insight. So for me, my intention behind writing these articles was only to educate, simplify, and break down. So it's the same mind pattern that continues. So
Yeah.
education, easy, making it easy and breaking it down. For law students, I sincerely believe that this initiative will definitely. I would like to believe that this would prove to be valuable for law students as well. Over the course of years, the law curriculum has evolved, and even for law students
Yes.
in today's times, being in law school is a very intellectually challenging endeavor. Students are pushed to perform better, and they are also pressed for time when it
Right.
comes to, because for in addition to their normal college coursework, they're also required to handle other coursework as well. Students do moot court
Yes.
competitions, they do Model United Nations, they travel all over the country for attending college fests. Some students attend conferences, some students do
Yeah.
additional qualifications. So often
Right.
what happens is they might or might not have the bandwidth to um, to really study in as much detail as they would like to. So if I were a law student and if a product like this came out, then I would definitely jump at a product like this, because the best part is that even if I'm on the move somewhere, while I'm on the move, I can listen to what is being
Yes. Yeah.
mentioned in the video cast as well. And for me, the intention behind writing the video cast, at least for my articles, I can say that my intention was that these could be used, of course, while the product is a video cast, but even if they don't watch the video, even if they just simply listen to it, I
Right.
sincerely believe that it can add value to students as well.
Yeah.
Definitely, when it also comes to practicing lawyers, what happens to practicing lawyers over a course of time is, as they get into the aspects of practice, then some over a course of time, they tend to focus only on certain aspects of the
Um,
law. It happens
Correct.
because
Yeah.
then as you grow senior, then you won't have the time and the bandwidth to get a holistic picture. You have to
Right. Right. Right.
direct your energies elsewhere. And what happens is, while that does happen, as you grow senior, you get to focus only on one particular area of law or one particular mandate.
Correct.
But at the
Hmm.
same time, sharpening the saw is something which I believe even practicing
Yeah.
lawyers must do, because
Yes.
as a lawyer, your most important, the most important thing that you bring to the table is two things: your knowledge and your experience. Both are
Hmm.
related to the domain of mind. So it is very, very important that you keep yourself updated and abreast with the basics of with the first principles and the basics, as they say, over and over again. And for me, I am a big, big supporter and fan of repetition. You have to do the same thing over and over and
Oh
over
no. Yeah.
again. That is how you gain mastery over it, right? I
Absolutely.
Yes,
No. No. Absolutely. I mean, there's no doubt. The point that you made, and in fact, the genesis of creating this video cast, apart from the fact that people had content, that is one part of it. But the second aspect was exactly what you said. I mean, I'm calling it as continuous learning, right?
yes, yes,
So it gives an opportunity for somebody to learn, and you have to. It is, I mean, if I draw a parallel, I think medicine is another field where you have to continuously, you know, upskill yourself or keep yourself abreast of what's happening. And I think the same thing applies to law.
absolutely.
So that was one of the reasons why we went this way. And instead of, providing content in the form of books or something, I mean, today's generation prefers to, listen or watch or both. And just since you mentioned it, even if somebody hears what is being said, we have also put in the article itself in the video cast. So if somebody does want to read the entire article, they can.
Excellent.
So
Excellent.
that it's not downloadable. It can be read because it's IP at the end of the day. So it is not downloadable. They can read the entire article. I mean, each article is just a few pages. I
Yes.
mean, so if they do want to, they can, and that is the intent. Another thing, without naming names, one of the things I did before we started this initiative was that I spoke to fairly high levels at the judiciary in the Supreme Court.
Okay. Okay.
And I had shown them a snippet of what we did. I mean, just for them to know. And I wanted their feedback in terms of whether is it worth it at all. Since it is completely new, and I didn't have any way of finding out whether this will work or not. I mean, forget the monetizing part of it, even the interest part of it, right? Whether people would be interested. The feedback that I got from them, and I'm talking about two, three of the senior most in the judiciary, so what they said was that it is something which is very useful, and they made exactly the same point what you made. That is, we should provide learning opportunities to students and early stage lawyers, which in many cases they don't get,
Yes.
except for how do I put it, well-funded colleges in tier one cities. So that was something, and so I was asked whether I would be able to keep it affordable. And if it is affordable, they believe that it's something that is good for this segment. I mean, for this particular segment of law itself. So after that meeting is when I decided that it's got some merit. Incidentally, it so happened that the first one that we released was completely away from law. That was to do with animal husbandry, agriculture, etc., which is again a very vast field and
Yes.
not fully serviced. So there again, the feedback that I got from the panelists who came on that show was that it's very, very, very useful, and it's a very nice form of disseminating content.
Yes.
So I guess the only validation or proof I have of concept is this, since it is very new. So anyway, that said, the segments what you mentioned are right. I just want to ask you, I don't know if I didn't hear you otherwise, but it's also for corporates, right?
It is for corporates as well. Yes, I
Okay.
would.
Yeah.
I would like to sincerely believe that in-house lawyers as well as business professionals working in corporates uh,
Hmm.
can potentially get value addition from the content that is being offered. Again,
Hmm.
the whole intention is that corporate, even for corporates and senior professionals, ultimately over a course of time, same as lawyers, I believe, is also it also becomes a game of their knowledge and experience to truly make a value addition when it comes to taking certain decisions as well.
No,
So
no, absolutely,
having a
absolutely.
product like this at their disposal. So if I were them, if I was if I was on the board of directors of a large public company, and if I were to get some information and have access to knowledge, then I would definitely jump at it. Because ultimately, what happens is, especially in board meetings, I'm sure
Hmm.
you know
Yeah.
you know more about it than I do over the course of your broad
Yes.
extensive
Yes.
career. Is that ultimately in board meetings, it is ultimately about brainstorming, but you'll be able to brainstorm and give ideas provided you yourself have content with you.
Correct.
That is the key.
Absolutely.
And content is equal to knowledge, and knowledge is equal to getting snippets of information from wherever you can.
Yeah.
So the idea is to keep sharpening the saw, to keep gaining and to keep assimilating knowledge as much as possible. Even if one is not able to apply it immediately or monetize from it immediately, nothing goes to waste. It's always there in your subconscious mind, it's always there at the back of your mind, and you may never know how it will come to your rescue at any point of time. So you
No,
just to add over here.
I mean, I can't agree more because so I'm not a lawyer, right? But I have kind of over the years made myself some kind of I like to call myself as somebody who can read contracts well, right? So, and the reason is very simple because over the period of some 35 years, at least about 30 of the 35 years, I've read contracts at different forms, fashions, and you get to speak to people, you get to know a lot about it. What you're saying is absolutely right. I mean, the more you collect information and the
Yeah.
more you're able to store it and apply it at the right time, I think there's no greater way of learning. I mean,
Yes.
everything is not in a book, right?
Yes.
So good. I mean, I'm going to let you go because I know that, we agreed for about 20, 25 minutes. You are busy.
No, no, we
No,
can.
no, no.
If there are any more questions,
So,
we can always
no,
go.
I don't really have, no, I just want to understand what you do, not for my benefit, I already know, but for the benefit of people and understand your reason, logic, one for writing, second for writing articles on specific subjects. So I guess that part is fairly covered. What we can do is that after some time, uh, we can probably do another one. Once we release the product, I'm hoping to release it tonight.
Lovely.
So once we do that, and then I'll let you know. We can probably catch up for a little more of information. Once we get some feedback from people, we can analyze that and then
Yes.
create a subsequent version of it.
Yes.
So,
Yes.
so once again, thank you very much. And again, it's I I'm actually I should say that I should be ashamed of myself. Having known you for so many years, we have not had even a Zoom call.
Not an issue. That's okay. Whenever
So we'll
I
catch
suppose
up.
things add up when they're supposed to add up.
Yeah. So we'll catch up. I'm sure, we'll get the chance to meet up. And I will keep you posted in terms of, how things go. Thank you very much once again.
Thank you. Thank you.
Thanks, sir. Yeah. Bye-bye.
Bye bye.
Bye.